Welcome to Batchademia,
a podcast so educational it could be a university class.
With your hosts,
Danielle Dick McHugh,
Kim Hannah,
and Bill Henninger.
Hey everybody, and welcome back. This is week 8 of Golden Bachelor in Paradise. I am joined today with my good friend Bill. Hello, Bill.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. We are getting ready to go out of town, so I'm doing all of it Sunday. For anyone who wonders, if anyone wonders when we record this, it's at all hours. Usually you can tell if it's at night or the day because we're drinking if it's at night. It's hammering down the Gatorade.
I am double fisting Diet Sprite and sugar-free Gatorade right now.
Yep. I got iced tea, so
I like it. Yep. Well, there was a lot that happened in both episodes today or this week. And so let's kind of just dive right in.
Question of the week, though.
Question of the week is, so when Golden Bachelor was kicking off, now this is a fantasy suites week, and they're always so coy about fantasy suites. It's like, shut up. We know that this is the sex week, but they can't say the word. Yeah. And Jesse is so uncomfortable, he whispers it. And then he made a joke like, I'm not sure what I can say on Disney. Which cracked me up. Because then he goes, how babies are made. So what is your favorite? So my question is, what is your favorite euphemism for the word sex or for the act of sex?
So the one that I think no one knows, and I should probably just put this out there. I do teach human sexuality. So I have an extensive vernacular around fake or terms we use to not say having sex. Grummating is a word for it. Okay. So yeah, I don't know where it comes from, but I've seen it on several websites. Okay. And then probably my favorite one is seeing a man about a dog. It's an old one that people say.
I thought that was what you said when you were going to go out for a smoke.
I think it works for either one, but it is. Yep.
I like it.
Recent one, putting the email in the spam folder. I've heard used. So yeah.
I like that.
What about you?
So now I am a historian and a fan of the English language and of plays. And so mine is a line from Shakespeare, from the play Othello. And it is make the beast with two backs.
Oh, yep. That's a good one.
I like to say that one. I don't know. There's so many good ones. And making
Going 20 toes. Going 22 toes, the old in and out, playing hide the salami, basting the turkey, shaking hands with a very dear friend, playing with the box the kids came in.
That's from a show. What is that from? They're when they say all the different ones. It's like a movie or a show when they list all of them.
I think they did it in How I Met Your Mother at one point. They were coming up with all of them. Going heels to Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. Heels to Jesus is a good one too. I like that. Okay. Yep. Anyway, yay. So, excuse me. So we're starting off with Golden Bachelor. Now, again, I watched these out of order. So I watched Bachelor in Paradise last night, and I watched Golden Bachelor this morning. So Golden Bachelor is closer in my brain than Bachelor in Paradise is. Mm-hmm. But when Jesse and Gerry are first together at the beginning of the show and they're talking about, it's fantasy week, and Jesse is so uncomfortable with it's just he's so clearly uncomfortable talking to Gerry about it because they keep using the euphemisms, which is what brought on the question of the day. Is it weird to think about your parents having sex? Is it weird to think about people of a certain age having sex? What are your thoughts on this, Mr. Relationships Professor?
I think for some people it is, but I would remind all the listeners I'm married to a gerontologist. So people have sex all the way through their life. I don't think I don't think it's weird, but I think for a lot of people it is. Jesse seemed to be like either he was playing the part that it should be weird or it was weird to him because when it's the 20-year-olds, he doesn't have a problem talking about it. Um, so I had a funny experience. Like all of the department heads in our college go out for a drink after this meeting we have on Friday, which why we have a meeting at Friday at 4 o'clock the weekend
Oh,
before.
Thanksgiving weekend? That's
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, but it's like we're all academics, so everyone wants to talk about their area of interest. And I was talking about this show that's on HBO called Naked
Naked
Attraction, which I think I've explained it on here.
Yeah.
You would think for a bunch of like social scientists, they were so uncomfortable with me talking about it. And I'm like, we were talking about how in England, it's like only 5% of men are circumcised, but in the US, it's like 85 to 90. And it's like half of them couldn't say the word circumcised. And I was like, my Lord, y'all are scientists. And like,
Really?
and they were trying to change the subject. And I was like, listen up. I listen to you talk about history. I listen to you all talk about political science. You are going to listen to me talk about penises and vaginas for 5 minutes at this bar. I just think people are weird about sex.
Yeah. Well, and I also think like I hope that people are still having sex in their 60s and 70s and 80s because
Yeah.
what the heck else is, I mean, like, you're
Yeah.
not dead. I want you to still have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think probably some of the uncomfortableness comes with like it being your parents' age. But then if you've ever been around older adults, they have absolutely no problem talking about sex. And I think it's because at that point they're like, it's like there's no one else to think about being older than them. So it's like, and you just kind of lose your, you know, you realize what things you should be like private about and not. And I'm just not so
Yeah.
sure that's one of them.
Yeah. All right. Let's go into the dates.
Yeah.
So Leslee and Gerry have an adventure date with rappelling, and Leslee has to rappel into a waterfall where Gerry doesn't. It's kind of like that sucks because she was the one that was most nervous about it.
Yeah.
And they did it. He was I love how supportive he was. Like, you're doing great. Keep going. I just love that. I love that that's part of his personality.
Yeah.
But so then they get done with the date and they're super proud of themselves, and then they have their dinner that night. And Gerry has been kind of thinking this whole time, like he and Leslie have never really had any deep conversations, and he asked her why she hasn't asked any hard questions. And I think her way of loosening the tension there is so she asks him when was the last time he had sex, and he doesn't really answer, but that it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's very clear that he wants to have a more of a discussion, and then they do dive in deeper. Gerry tells Leslie that he thinks she's the one. So if he ends up not picking her, I think it's going to be really bad. But what were your thoughts on their date, their conversation, that whole part of the show?
So I thought just like you said, like he was so supportive and they really bonded. I felt like it was again, I think I used this before, but it was giving paradise by the dashboard lights, kind of like,
Yeah.
I love you, I want to be with you forever, and then he's praying till the end of time. So I don't know. I feel like she challenges him more and he's really attracted to that. And I feel like when we get to Teresa, it's a different vibe, and I feel like Gerry's out for someone that challenges him.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think that I've ever since last week I've thought that Leslie is the one he's going to end up with. I think like you said, Teresa's the safe choice. I think Teresa's the most like his wife. And if he wants to have a little bit more adventure in his last 30 years, that he should choose Leslie. I think, and this goes back to something else we've talked about this whole time. I think that one of the biggest things Teresa and Gerry have in common is that they're both widows.
Yep.
And I don't know that that's enough to build another whole relationship and marriage on.
He kind of said that in their date too, that like
Yeah.
we've talked about this, but not much else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think if they really wanted to know, because you know, we've talked about this on here a lot, like you marry the family. We should have made them because there was this very awkward transition at the end where they were like, next week is Thanksgiving, but the week after that, and it's like, they should have done a Thanksgiving episode where like he had to sit down with their family. They had to negotiate which family they're going to first.
Yeah.
You know, one of them had to call their family and try to get it rescheduled to the weekend because they were going to be there Thursday, and then like deal with the family that's not happy because they don't get to have Thanksgiving on that day, and like, and then just see if they can like live together for 5 days after. If you can do that, you've got a pretty
Yeah.
good relationship.
What they should do for Golden Bachelor is instead of the hometowns and then meeting like each of them meeting the other families, they should put the whole families, they should have
All of them,
the
yeah.
whole families meet together for both hometowns because
Royal Rumble, yeah.
you got it. Like either the adult kids and grandkids get along or they don't. And if you can figure that out sooner rather than later, I think it helps a whole lot.
Leslee should offer to host, and then she can see if Gerry actually helps or if he just sits and watches football, right? Like all of those things that really matter in a relationship and not like, you know, the very surface stuff.
So I saw something on the Instagram a couple of weeks ago about, hey, start involving your sons and daughters in all the food prep, all the Thanksgiving prep, all the cleaning, so that we're stopping that generational thing of men sit in one room watching football and women do all the work in the kitchen. And I was so full disclosure, everyone, I have COVID. So I was supposed to host Thanksgiving.
Don't worry, I'm vaccinated. I can't catch it from her.
Well, we're in two different cities.
Over the interwebs.
We're in the interwebs. I do have all of my boosters, so it hasn't been terrible, and hopefully it won't get any worse than it has been. I'm sleeping a lot, which is a novelty. But so I was supposed to host Thanksgiving, and I had sent out an email about like, because we were going to do Mexican Thanksgiving. We weren't even going to have traditional Thanksgiving food. And I just said, like, please bring something that's Mexican or Mexican-esque for eating. And my dad said, I'll bring being hungry, ? Because you don't want him to cook. Like, he's a wonderful human being, but the kitchen is not where his skills are. And I responded with, well, you can do the dishes. You could like help with that instead. And so even if he's not in the kitchen, Gerry can help with the cleanup.
I agree. That's my thing, is it's like you don't have to cook, and some people it's not their talent, but it doesn't take a lot of talent to wash dishes.
No, especially if you have a dishwasher.
Yeah, pick stuff up, scrape off plates. Yeah. Yep, I agree. And also, like, drinking's a big thing in a lot of Thanksgiving. Doing dishes while you've been drinking is actually a pretty fun activity.
Right?
I do some of my best cleaning when I'm like 3 drinks in.
Yeah, because you either break some dishes and then it's an excuse to buy new dishes, or they get really, really clean because you forget how much you've been doing.
Yep.
I love it. Okay,
we had a real tangent there. I like it.
What?
We went on a real tangent there. I like it.
We did. I'm sorry. I do that.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
I do that even when I am fully in control of my brain. So let's transition to Teresa and Gerry.
Yeah.
They went horseback riding in silence. Like the whole vibe of their date was so different. And he even said, like, the whole time I was on this date with Teresa, I'm just thinking, what's Leslee doing? What's Leslee up to?
Yeah.
Teresa tells Gerry that she's in love with him, but he doesn't want to hurt her feelings, so it's super awkward. But then when they get together and have their dinner, we find out that Teresa is a boss ass bitch, and she's like,
awesome.
She's still working. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I bet she is like terrifying as a boss because you don't think she's gonna get a zinger in, and then she gets a zinger in. She looks so small and polite.
That or she's one of those rare bosses that can rule with kindness and get a lot out of people without having to be a dick. And it's like maybe, it's like I think you always think of a boss as like, but like really good bosses rarely have to get mad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we find out that she went into this saying, if this works out, I'll retire. Gerry seems very turned on by her career success. And then we also find out that Gerry retired at 55, which I don't even know how that's possible in this day and age to get to retire at 55. What do you do with the last 40 years of your life? That sounds so boring.
Right.
And what has he been doing the last 15 years?
I think sometimes when people say that, it is like they retired from their first job, but they're doing other stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have friends that like their goal is to retire at like 45, and I'm like, well, what are you going to do? And like, well, I might start a smaller business. And it's like, so you're not like when
Not retiring.
Yeah, when I think of retiring, I'm like, I'm gonna do nothing. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I would be good at retirement. I don't think it's in the cards for me.
I would definitely have to volunteer somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Gerry is now back interested in Teresa. I just think in 2 weeks this show is gonna just be a clusterfuck. But what did you think about Teresa and Gerry's time together?
Well, one, I have a cat that like really wants to sit on my lap and squawk. So I agree. Yeah, it's like damn animal kingdom in here. I thought that was really interesting. The change in just like the whole mood of that date. It's like Gerry's very like disengaged, and he's like, "What do you do for a living? I didn't even know." And she's like, "Oh, I manage finances." Like she's like, "I was buying my own stocks, and my previous husband was basically like, you need to get a job so we can pay for health insurance." And she's like, cool, I'll just go to this like Lehman Brothers or something and like work my way up and then all of a sudden Gerry is like, whoa, oh well. And her personality, and maybe, I don't know, I felt like the whole time she's like, I just want to be with Gerry. I'll leave my job for this man. And it's like, maybe Gerry should do your laundry. Like maybe you should be like, I'll marry you. You need to cook and clean and do my laundry.
Yeah, he can be a house husband.
Yeah, really. I mean, like she seems like she's awesome. And up to that point, all I got from her was like, I need a man. I just want to be married. That's all I'll do anything to marry Gerry. And it's like, Gerry'd be lucky to marry you at this point. So, yeah.
I kind of think that at the end of the show, he's not going to be with either one of them.
Really?
I think that he's not going to be able to pick one.
Do you think that's what it is? I think he won't be. I wondered if he decided like he didn't want to be long term with either of them. And like this is kind of his out.
Let's just date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, in the previews for next week, it looks wild.
Yeah.
Is he going to have a breakdown? He's now told both of them that he loves them, but he also has said he's made his decision, which makes me think his decision is not either one of them marriage. And then while I was watching it, the whole episode, I kept thinking, man, if he picks one, whoever he doesn't choose, watching this episode will be awful.
I would have a hard time with that, but the women on this season just seem so like reasonable. And they seem to like each other so much that it's like,
I think the women who are now off the show, yes. I think at this stage, I think if he chose Teresa and she was watching this episode and saw what he was saying about Leslee, I don't know.
I think Teresa is far more invested than Leslee. Like I think Leslee is in it, but I don't think she's sold. I think Teresa's like, yeah.
It'll be a wild 2 hours. So here's my next question.
Yeah.
We've been saying that it's a 2-hour season finale, but Bachelor in Paradise is still going.
Right.
So are they gonna switch it and have 1 hour of Bachelor in Paradise and 2 hours of Golden Bachelor on the 30th? And then keep doing Bachelor in Paradise?
I hope those bastards don't throw a 4-hour show on us.
How could they? They'd have to. Oh,
They take Wheel of Fortune off the air. Like, sorry, Pat. Like, I know this is
better not.
yeah. Yeah, I love a good Wheel of Fortune. Well, you lived with us. You know my love of Wheel. Like,
I love Wheel of Fortune too. I'm good at Wheel of Fortune.
I am not, but I love to.
All
I love to make
right.
really bad guesses and have Elaine like roll her eyes at me.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Now, we're gonna go into Bachelor in Paradise, and I was telling Bill before we started recording. In full disclosure, I was watching this last night with a fairly high fever, and as I'm looking over my notes, this section might be a little crazy. So I apologize in advance. But
Or that was the show. Like,
well, a little bit. I think it was the show. The show was kind of all over the place last night, or when I watched it last night.
Yep.
So we start with Olivia getting ready for her one-on-one date with the new guy whose name she can't even remember. I'm not even sure if she knew what it was. She said the beach was really loud, so she didn't actually hear his name when he came onto the beach.
but she's in love with him.
She's in love with him, and they're already talking about she's already talking about like babies and stuff.
Which I did not buy that the beach was loud, because they're like interviewing her after she's like met with him. She's talked to everyone.
Yeah.
She went through all the cycles of grief when she thought he was going to pick someone else. And I thought she never leaned over to one of her friends. It's like, Michael?
Yeah.
Mika? Who is it?
Olivia's starting to get on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
But and we also find out that John Henry likes heavy metal, but Kat would never go to a mosh pit because people die in mosh pits. And I was just like, all right, let's go. It's ready for Bachelor in Paradise, baby. So 2 new guys walk onto the beach. I have no idea who either of these guys are when they walk down. Jordan and Taylor. Why at this point in the show, what is the point in introducing new people? Because they never make it.
Yes.
Right? They just kind of come for like 5 minutes of chaos and then they don't get a rose.
Yeah, it's got to be to just like really stress out the couples, right? And maybe I think once or twice it's been someone that someone really likes.
Yeah.
They like link up with them, but yeah. And wasn't Taylor was like Rachel got rid of him? He was like a race car driver.
That was Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Jordan was Rachel Nicole's first one-on-one on her season, and he was the race car driver, and she sent him home. She didn't even give him a rose. But she's excited to see him now. And their date is group couples tantric yoga. And like, producers, are you kidding me with this? Tantric yoga is like a thing that should be between 2 people in a controlled area, and they're doing it on the beach with random strangers. And but what are your thoughts on second chances? Do not knowing what happens later, pretending we don't know what happens later on in the episode. Right. Do you think that there's a real thing with second chances?
I think so. And probably in that situation where it's like you went on one date with them, maybe it didn't click. But you were always like, oh, they seem like a good person, just not a good person right now. And then you go on, you know, maybe it gets rekindled. I'm all for that. I think that the second chance issue is like this person cheats on you, you break up for a week, and then you get back together, and it's like, what changed? I don't think anything changed there. Yeah. What about you?
I think it really depends on why they broke up in the first place. And what brought them back together. I think producers bringing you back together doesn't really stand a chance. But if it happens organically or through your Instagram DMs, I say give it a go and see what happens.
I think for flings, though, if you're looking for like a 1 week, like, you know, torrent love affair, second chance is the way to go. You already know you're attracted. You got a little bit of like chemistry already there. You wake up with them. It's like, at least it's not you get blacked out and you're like, who is this person? Is their name Jenny or Jillian? I don't remember, you know.
Nicole and your name is Rachel? Yeah.
Exactly. I wish he would have called her Nicole at some point.
Oh man, that would be amazing. Then we would know that somebody at least is listening to us.
That's what I
really
was thinking. It's like, we got a fan. We got a fan.
we have a fan from Bachelor Nation.
Yes.
So if you recall, the previous week Tanner gave Rachel a rose,
Yep.
and Rachel was under the impression that they were this was a friendship rose, and Tanner is not under that same understanding.
Yeah.
So Tanner is very worried that he's about to be friend zoned. And then the other people on the beach are like, dude, just talk to her. Like, have a conversation and get your communication out. And so they do. And it's no longer looking good for our new guy, Jordan.
You got something wrong with you when the voice of reason is the like people on The Bachelor that are like, just talk to him. Just talk to him. I never thought of it that way, right?
What do you mean I should talk to the girl I like instead of just ignoring her and thinking that she knows what I'm doing?
But it's a good plug for communication. I'm just a big believer that communication solves almost all of your ills in a relationship. Like saying things in a like kind but boundaried way really solves almost all your problems.
Exactly. They removed themselves from everybody else. They went to another section of the beach. They talked it all out. She said, "Oh my gosh, I really thought we were just friends." And he said, "Oh my gosh, I really would like us to be more than friends." And then they worked it out.
Yep.
Maturity.
Yeah. It was very mature.
Very mature. And they always see Eliza and Aaron do something stupid. They're boring. They're going steady now. He might as well just give her a pin or his Letterman jacket. I don't know. Those two are boring. They had a little bit of drama and now they're back to boring.
Yep.
And then Brayden pierces Tyler's ear.
Of course Brayden does.
And Mercedes' face is very much like, oh, I don't like this. Because it's not even a small stud earring. Like, that sucker is going to be so infected. It's a giant diamond stud.
Yeah.
Cubic zirconia stud, I'm sure, but
I will say Brayden's a traveling nurse, so I hope
that's true.
Sterilization.
He probably has rubbing alcohol in one of his bags, I hope.
And for our sake, I hope Brayden understands sterilization.
Oh, such a zinger.
Yeah.
So the truth box comes back out. Every time the truth box comes out, people get upset, which is why I like it when the truth box comes out. Because Wells is a little evil little monster, and he likes to bring it out. What did you think about the truths that come out? Do we think Tyler is stringing Mercedes?
I thought it was interesting because they later, I don't know if you have it in here, but they do a roast, which I am absolutely against roast.
It's on this. We will be talking about the roast.
Okay, so I won't go into detail, but I will say, and I'll mention this again, I'm sure, that roasts are a way to say mean things to people and pretend you're not being mean. The truth box, I feel like, is bringing up things about relationships that people need to hear to move their relationships along. And I agree that Tyler is probably not that into Mercedes, because Mercedes seemed very concerned very quickly, and it's like there's got to be some truth to this, and Tyler didn't totally deny it. Yeah,
he didn't.
Yeah.
So Katie Thurston shows up, and the look on Blake's face was amazing. I love her too. I think she's fun. I mean, it's like they have to be feeding these guys some lines, because it was literally Blake going, I'm really happy. I'm in a really great place. I'm really happy with Jess. Nothing could screw this up. And then there are legs coming down the stairs, and it's Katie Thurston. So she pulls Blake, and we're like, oh my gosh, is this another second chance possibility? They talk about how things ended. They ended their engagement with a phone call, which
I feel like there's a lot more of a story.
There was so much that was not said that I want all the information on. Let me find my notes real quick. Okay.
Well, Katie said something about, do you want me to go first or do you want to go with your notes? I feel like we're probably going to say, you go first.
So I'm going to read my fever notes. So Katie is now the second former bachelorette at the beach this season. That right there is weird to me. Like, did they run out of people to be on the beach? And we know that she's not actually there to join the beach, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
And it is revealed that they ended their engagement over the phone, which you guys are grown-ass adults. What are you doing there? And then they kind of dance around closure, but Katie also throws super shade about how young Jess is. And clearly Blake is not over Katie, and it's pretty clear through their conversation that Katie is the one that broke up with Blake. But she also may still be in love with him. There was some voice messages that she left him that he did listen to all 6 of them. And at the end of it, Blake is straight tripping.
Yeah.
And I put it in quotation marks because Blake is tripping.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Blake and Katie's conversation?
So, she did say, you know, there was you and there was the trip. So it seems like maybe Blake went on like a safari without her, from what I could piece together, and she was mad. And then like she left him a bunch of voicemails. And then she was like, I don't even remember what I said, and he's like, I remember everything. And it seemed like she was trying to apologize. So like I said, I think she's funny. Like, I followed her on Instagram. She's decided she wants to be a comedian. Like, legitimately a comedian. Like, she is like, on her Instagram it says comedian, and she's like trying to do stand-up. And I just felt like this was like, for somebody who I thought was authentic, this was just like really cringy. And then it seemed like a segue into a roast. It just seemed like it was all set up for that. And it's like either Blake is a really good actor or Blake is really dumb. I think Blake is not very bright. He just seemed like, my world is tilting on edge.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right, we've teased it a little bit already, but Katie is actually there to hold the roast.
Yep.
I hate roasts. You hate roasts. I think it was obviously weird partnerings because they partnered up to do the roast too.
Yeah.
It was weird partners. I actually thought the cat stuff was funny. I thought the Jess stuff was mean. And then Tanner roasts Rachel and Nicole after they just got their relationship going. I'm like, you're an idiot. So what are your thoughts on I think we both agree that roasts in general are terrible. What's your opinion on the roast on the episode?
Well, I did have it. So one, Rachel Nicole seems possibly crazy, which is probably not a word I should use, but she also does seem very nice. And it's like, from the beginning, she was like, I don't want to do this. They're going to say mean stuff about me. It's like, you could tell she didn't want to say mean stuff. And that's how I would be. I'd be like, I'm going to go somewhere else. You guys can say it behind my back.
Yeah. I don't want to hear it. You can tease me all you want, but I don't want to know what
this is not in fun. And then she was like, I know what they're going to say about me. Rachel has fake hair, fake teeth, fake boobs. And I was like, does she have fake teeth and fake boobs?
How do you already have fake teeth in your 20s?
Well, I know a lot of people will like get porcelain veneers, but like you can usually tell when they have them because they look too perfect. And her teeth are nice. Like, I wonder if she's just had them like whitened, and that's what she meant by fake teeth.
Maybe.
But it's like, one thing I've liked about her is that she never seems like she's not like overly fake. You don't look at her and you're like, you know, super skinny girl with giant fake boobs, which if that's your thing, that's your thing. But it's like, did she get fake boobs? I feel like I'm a decent judge. I watch a lot of Naked Attraction. They almost always ask who has fake boobs and who doesn't. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of this at this point in my life. And if she does, it slipped right under my radar. I think roasts are dumb. I think they are mean. I don't think it's funny to say mean things about people that are mostly true and then be like, haha, it's all in fun. I just don't think that's the way you should treat people you care about.
Right. Well, and they do the roast kind of often on this show. And I feel like you need to get either new material or this is a sign that you should stop doing the show. If you're like dodgeball is something that should be repeated every season because it's awesome.
Yes.
Roast, not so much.
Well, and it wasn't Katie's season that they did the roast. There was a season before where they did a roast and it really hurt the person's feelings.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, we wished it was somebody else, which I feel like is the roast they say every time, like, we wished it was this other bachelorette, said Gabby, which is funny the guy said that because it's like, I don't think Gabby's interested in you. And
Gabby isn't interested in boys anymore, guys.
Yeah, which good for Gabby.
I know.
I don't think they're very fun. I'm trying to think of anyone else that I thought was funny. They made fun of Braden, and you know what? Exactly as I thought. I don't know if Braden didn't understand or that's just Braden thought it was hilarious. Like he's like,
the best roast of the whole show was when Wells told Braden he looked like a poor man's Indiana Jones when he was wearing his hat, and Braden stopped wearing the hat after that.
He was like, "You look like somebody who went to Spirit Halloween." And
yeah, that's right.
and I feel like
the hat.
That's an okay thing to say because it's like Braden kind of knows he's ridiculous. And I feel like for whatever reason, I think the other interesting question is why is it funny what they said to Kat? Because I agree with you. And I think it's because Kat's mean. And like Kat, there were some things that people were like, I don't think we should say that. And Kat's like, oh no, I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
Yeah.
It's like revenge.
Well, and the stuff about Kat is stuff that we've all seen. And the stuff about Jess was so targeted. The stuff about Kat was stuff Kat can control because the stuff about Kat was all her behavior.
Yeah.
And the stuff about Jess was how young she is. And she can't control how young she is.
Yeah.
And it's the whole,
yeah, that's a good to see. And the thing with like Rachel Nicole, what they were making fun of her, it's like, it's just not stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and at the very end, Blake takes Jess off to the side, and I don't think their relationship is long for this world.
Right. He seemed like, but they ended it before we knew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's interesting. Like this is Blake's character has finished its arc. He is letting someone go. Like he's finally become a human.
His 3-season arc is almost over, and we no longer have to see Canada Blake anymore in Bachelor Nation.
He goes
Fingers crossed.
He goes back to whatever jungle that he lives with animals or whatever he does.
Oh boy. All right. Well, that was delightful. What lessons did we learn this week from Golden Bachelor in Paradise?
I learned that Kim, I always suspected this, but Kim is a gamer. She had like 102 temperature yesterday, watched The Bachelor, got up, has COVID, and managed to put together a wonderful show. To all of you, just so I don't get yelled at, Kim disclosed she had COVID right when we got on to record this. I did tell her, like, we can do this later. You don't have to do it. So I wasn't, as one of the leaders of this circus that we run here, I was not like, you get up and you do this. But I'm impressed.
Well, I'm probably going to go sleep for 3 hours as soon as we're done recording. But it's good to like get out and not just be in bed. If anybody has suggestions, I'm going to be home this week now. So anything I should watch on the streaming services, let me know.
If you want to feel horrible about your soul, if you can make it through more than 2 seasons of Vanderpump Rules.
No, I can't. I don't even
made it
watch an episode of it.
I made it to the season 2 finale and I was like, I need something else because this is rotting me from
It has to be something I can watch on Hulu or Netflix or HBO.
You have Disney Plus?
I do have Disney Plus. Yeah.
The Loki series is I know you're not a huge comic book person, but Tom Hiddleston is amazing. And it's got It's got Owen Wilson in it. Yeah.
Loki's my favorite character from all the Avengers movies.
It's a really
So,
good, it like
oh, yeah,
closes, speaking of arcs, it closes out his arc.
uh, did you just like give a huge spoiler?
No, he doesn't die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he dies in the movies, so I don't quite get dead in the show, but I die. Thank you for the compliment of me being too stupid to say I'm sick and I should just not do anything. Because that's what other people are like, don't do anything. But I can't. I can't not do anything.
Well, you earned your nap today. If you're waiting for someone to give you permission, you have earned your nap.
Thank you.
What lesson did you learn?
I learned that tantric yoga on the beach looks even worse than tantric yoga in a studio.
It is cringy.
It's so cringy, especially tantric yoga with a stranger. Like Jordan and Rachel are basically strangers, and they had to do all sorts of things that you do with someone after you've spent more than 5 minutes with them. So my lesson is maybe wait until the third date for group tantric yoga.
Sex and group tantric yoga are third date activities. Anything
Sure.
before you're
I think
giving
my
up
mom watches this now, so I'm not gonna say anything else about the third date rules.
I feel like there was an episode of How I Met Your Mother. We're going back to that show where not Lily, but the other main character, I'm blanking on her name.
Robin?
Yes, Robin explained why she has sex on the third date. And it was like, because if you go before, you're giving up too early. If you go after, you're a prude. She's like, I'm 3-date Shabowski.
Oh, 3 days. Okay, I like it. I think it depends on the situation.
Probably. Yeah, I would say with that, tantric yoga and sex, you probably shouldn't have a specific date. Like you should probably really assess it with each relationship.
But I disagree and say, but tantric yoga should absolutely be third date or later.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. City shout out.
It's good to have a minimum, but it's like you don't have to have a like it has to happen by this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Sorry, I could keep making quips about this. All right. We Springfield, Missouri, who we have listeners from, and Elaine and I are packing up and going down there to watch the UNI volleyball team compete in the Missouri Valley tournament. Hopefully they'll win. Springfield is the capital of Missouri, right? I always get it confused with
Yeah.
Illinois. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I thought Jefferson City was the capital of Missouri. Springfield,
Jefferson,
Illinois.
Springfield, yeah. Jefferson, so Springfield, Missouri does nothing other than be the third largest city in Missouri. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. It is the third largest city in Missouri, the 152nd largest city in the US. It has a population of 169,000. I feel like I should apologize because I have been like telling everyone I'm excited to go watch the volleyball team. I wish it was in a better city. And I thought like Springfield had like 70,000 people, but here it's somewhat big. They have a Lebanese restaurant that I'm going to eat at because I love Lebanese food. It is called, among some of its more popular nicknames, the Buckle of the Bible Belt. One of the reasons I'm excited to go there.
That's not a positive.
Yeah, Queen City of the Ozarks. That's a great name. The birthplace of Route 66. Also.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah. And let's see.
Wait, but the highway Route 66 doesn't start in Springfield, it starts in Chicago. So how can it be?
I wonder if it started there. It's the birthplace, not the start.
And then it spread?
Yeah.
Okay. It spread like COVID.
That, or there's like all these people, like there's a ton of cities who claim to be the birthplace, and they're just like, yeah, you can all be from there. So
yeah.
Famous people, they're not doing great on famous people there. We've got John Ashcroft, United States Attorney General, some senators, Dale Long, who hit a home run in 8 consecutive games as a major league baseball player.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Let's see. Arts and literature. I'm looking to see if there's anybody in there who's really famous. I'm not seeing anyone. Sports. BJ Flores, he was a boxer. Lots of Major League Baseball players. Oh, I know who's from there. The greatest women's basketball player of all time, Jackie Stiles, is from Springfield.
Wow.
But she is by far the most famous person there. I'll hear nothing else. If you've never heard or seen Jackie Stiles like highlights, go back and look at them. She was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Is Springfield, Missouri one of the Springfields that the Simpsons Springfield could be?
It
Because
could
they
be.
never say what state.
They did eventually. It's Springfield, Oregon, I think is what they said. It like eventually the creators said that's where they were from.
Is there actually a Springfield in Oregon?
I think so. I remember it was a big reveal. Simpsons, Springfield.
Oh
yeah. Yep.
Known for The Simpsons.
Yep. It was like years where they wouldn't say it, and then eventually is it Matt Groen, who I think created it, came out and said he came out to everybody and said it was Springfield, Oregon.
That's where The Simpsons. Well, that's cool.
And all of the small Springfields in the world were like, shit. Like, we've lost our ability. So
we thought we were the special one, and we're not.
Yep. Cool. Well, everyone have a good Thanksgiving. Kim, we hope you feel better. And we will see y'all in 2 weeks.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
You have been listening to Bachelor
with your hosts, Danielle Dick McGew,
Kim Hanna,
and Bill Hennig.
All thoughts and opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the person who spoke them.
If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to the show, leaving a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to your podcast.
Also, please share with your family, friends, colleagues, and other ardent Bachelor fans.
If you have comments or questions you would like us to address on the show, you can email us at bachademia@gmail.com.
Or on the Twitter with the handle @Bachademia.
Thanks for listening.